Interesting facts from the trackside commentators that no one with the name of Hill has ever failed to win a world championship. Graham Hill and David Hill, of course. But welcome to Co-Racing League. My name is ILT Indigo, and I will be joined shortly by Bunnies, who will be joining midway through qualifying and hopefully beginning the race too. So he'll be here tonight. And once again, a massive thank you to Bunnies for commentating the Tier 1 race in Saudi Arabia, which was the first race of the season, and it proved to be chaotic too, with lots of overtaking action. We saw it on TikTok as well, with almost 4 wide movement into 1. What can we expect here though at the Hungarian, which is a short track, a 4.3 kilometre track, and it can be a very interesting race or a boring one. It's one of those races where you get those ones where it's boring and it can be very enjoyable to watch as well. So we'll see what happens, whether it can play a massive factor to throw a spanner in the works and mix things up, as we saw back in Tier 3 then. So we're underway for qualifying, 18-minute session. Smalley Balls has already retired from the session. I presume that is a qualifying man. But let's go back to Jeddah in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. It was Sweet Crown who took the victory. I believe he had a 5-place grid penalty due to contact with Pease. I watched the onboard video and they were both close together. I think Pease made a mistake, then Walter collected him. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, of course, because I can't actually remember. But it was Walter who came out on top after serving his 5-place grid penalty to start 7th. Pease in P2. Sweet Crown and Pease in P1 and P2 reminds me a few seasons ago when the top 3, majority of it was always Sweet Crown, Pease, or Jeroen Visser, and sometimes an outsider on the odd occasion on the podium. Then it was Nathan who took P3, and that was his last win as well back in Jeddah last season. No, it was the season before that, wasn't it? Then a season later he won in Brazil due to that messy race, as I called a BS race back then. And Pyro finished in P4. We expected Pyro here tonight, but I presume because of his sleeping schedules, he's not awake at this time of night, unfortunately, so he'll be not appearing here to claim a podium. Bompier finished in P5, great result from the Ferrari driver. I believe he went the alternate strategy from starting on the medium compound tyres towards the hard compound tyres, so he finished in P5. Then it came Reserfine 6th ahead of Kenny. Taupe finished in 8th ahead of his German compatriot Julbeam in 9th place. Julbeam is now in the AlphaTauri, as he was, I believe, in the McLaren last season. I'm still trying to get used to these drivers and teams as well, because last season as well I was used to seeing Sweet Crown in the Ferrari alongside Bompier too in the Ferrari, but not this time around. And Kenny finished in 7th, great result for him, and Taupe in 8th, Julbeam 9th. George Hargreaves on his debut for CRL finished in P10, great result for him. Chazza finished in 11th place ahead of Posh Evans. Strange in 13th, the only driver by the way who finished not to score points, because the rest of them DNF behind him. Aero Strange, unfortunately, who DNF'd in Saudi Arabia, looking to come back stronger, of course, here at the Hungarian, on board with rotation as he attempts his first line lap. Then headed through turn 2, and now the flat out corner in turn 3. I remember Bompier and Walter making contact, I think it was 2 seasons ago here, on that particular corner. And now we flick our way in. The back of the car wants to step out of him as he carries a lot of speed and momentum. Then headed through turn 5, decent exit through there. Now in this slow speed corner, it's very important to get traction right as well, because you get the first part wrong, you're bound to get the second part wrong. We've seen that plenty of times where people bounce over the curbs or they spin on the exit. And Lewis Hamilton back in 2011 spun there too, and I think he got in the way of Paul Di Resta and got a penalty due to that too. As rotation now 53.9. Remember Sergio Perez crashing there back in 2013 and in 2015 too, so twice he's crashed there at the exit of the corner. And now we're coming through turn 13, this slow left-hander here, just trying to get the throttle without losing the rear end, and into the final corner we go, then where it can all be lost due to the tyres being very hot at this stage. And now he's going to cross the line with the 50.3 as the benchmark. I'm expecting pole to be a 14 something as Reservoir slots into P2 with both AlphaTauris making their way towards the line. That's the relentless boy of Julbeam who's got into second place, and Taupe, his German compatriot, in P4, with an Alfa Romeo coming to the line very shortly to take pole position, which is AJ Wuhan. And that's a good lap time indeed from the Brits in the Alfa Romeo there. ILT Frank making his first appearance of the season. They missed Saudi Arabia, but he's teamed up with Sweet Crown and the Polish and the Dutch driver pairing up as he crossed the line now to go into P3 for the Red Bull team. I think ILT Kenny's next across the line. He's on the medium compound tyres, which is very interesting indeed. I think he's about to start another flying lap due to no validation on his previous run or make a mistake. So doesn't matter at this stage either, because it is very early doors in qualifying. Track will rise up. Bompier, who claimed a podium I think it was 2 seasons ago or 3. It was definitely 3 seasons ago, because the last season he made contact with Walter as Sieb goes quickest with a 15.1. And it's nice to have you back, Sieb. Welcome back, mate. This is the Sieb you want as well, with a 15.1, 1/10 ahead of AJ Wuhan in the Alfa Romeo. So it's a Ferrari powered car, 1, 2, 3. But can anybody break that equation with a Mercedes of Strange, I believe it is, who's coming towards the final corner? Which is not. It's his teammate who's in the pit lane, which is Reservoir, who's completed a flying lap there. We've got an Alfa Romeo making their way towards the final corner, but I think he's in the pit lane. That's AJ Wuhan, who's just completed his flying lap. Sweet Crown is still in the pit lane there with his teammate currently on the track, who's got into P4, RLT Frank, as he missed Jeddah, so this is his first qualifying appearance in this league, or I say league, in this tier, sorry, as Kenny invalidates once again, and he's heading off into the pit lane to end his medium stint, and I presume he'll be going to the soft compound tyres, so might be sacrificing a set of soft compound tyres late on the race, just in case there's a late safety car out there. And Nathan now coming towards this middle sector here, flat out King, and now we come into turn number 11. Slight lift off through there. I thought it was flat out heading to that corner, but we'll never know. We'll find out eventually. Heading into turn 12, where we saw Pastor Maldonado push Paul Di Resta off the track and got himself a penalty. And now into 13, where we saw Max Verstappen spin back in 2022 and still went on to win the race. And Alex Albon crashed at the final corner too at this circuit in the Toro Rosso, as Nathan makes his way towards the line. What's it going to be for the ILT driver? Goes into P2 ahead of his brother then. It's nice to have the two brothers back together. It's like deja vu back when they were fighting in season 5, I believe, when AJ, Nathan and Ferg were on the top 3 in the championship for that season as well, fighting against Ferg after Dubal being a 2-time world champion, then Ferg finally winning his first championship, well deserved as well for Relentless Ferg, who's currently sat in P8 in the Alpine behind Dual Beam in the AlphaTauri. So there's your second set of lap times, if you like. And we're still waiting for about 4 more drivers, including both McLarens. Posh Evans, who's currently on his outlap, we can see him right there in the Haas, then looking for a decent result as well. He finished in P12 at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Did difficult qualifying for the Welshman, but he'll be looking to bounce back stronger here, and hopefully this track suits him much more better than Jeddah. Very difficult track indeed is Saudi Arabia. And now Posh Evans making his way towards the final corner in turn 14. 13 less corners than Saudi Arabia, and that's a wide line through there. We're going to go on board with Posh Evans there to see what lap time he can set on the timing sheets as we head down into turn 1, break before the 50-meter board. And let's see how he takes it through here. Just short shifted to reduce with the wheel spin on the exit. Bit of marbles picked up on the right hand side there as we head into turn number 2. A few drivers complaining about marbles being on the inside in turn 2, usually the outside, but you never know with these game graphics. Turn 3 was nice and flat. Into turn 4 now, we want to flick it in and carry as much speed as you can. Perez crashed here. The FP1, I think it was this season or last season. It's been a long time, even though the season's just ended, and now we're coming through turn number 6 and 7. Very difficult corners indeed to get right, and that's a decent exit there from Posh Evans into turn 8 and turn 9, the centre S if you like. Lean on the curb on the outside, using all of it for without invalidation. Now easy left-hander into this right-hander we go. Slight lift on entry. Some people like to double the brakes or lift off, depending if you have the confidence and set up to do so. And coming into turn 12 then can be a difficult corner to go out wide there. Kimi Raikkonen, I think, oversteered into that corner, overtaking Felipe Nasser back in 2015, trying to make his way through in the Ferrari. Now coming towards the final corner. What lap time can Josh set here for his first opening lap of the session? It's going to be a 15.7 then, so in P12 where we finished back in Jeddah, and he'll be looking to improve on the lap time, I'm sure, for his sake in the Haas. So 8 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in qualifying. Still yet to see some drivers set their lap times. We've got Chaza out there with the Tamo 2 in the Ferrari. Chaza at 27.3 as he took a lot of curb on entry 2. I thought he was going to validate, but I think he slightly made a mistake on the exit of it. Didn't really carry the speed he needed to. Gets on the grass on the entry there towards turn 6 and turn 7. Won't help your case whatsoever. Suffering with understeer, as you won't have the grip to do that. As we now head into turn 9. Change of direction through here. Coming through the kink. Very easy corner indeed. I do find this corner a bit difficult, especially in the race though, because they're carrying a lot of fuel. The tyres overheated too. And just plain understeering as well for good measure. Turn 12. gets on the curb, bit of wobble on going there. We see a bit of smoke coming from his teammate in P19, who's currently on the soft compound tyres now, as he tried to go for his medium runs but couldn't quite work out. So everybody on the softs, as you expect in this new format. I say new, it's been introduced since 2022. Here comes Chazza, who goes into P13, does the Brit then. So let's see on his next runs he can try and improve. Tamo goes into P15 in the Ferrari then. And let's see what IRT Kenny can do in the second McLaren, who's currently going down into turn number 2 then. So left it quite late. He hasn't got a representative lap time, so he doesn't really have a preference to see what he could do. And Dual Beams goes quickest with a 14.8 then, so he's the first man to try and get in the 14s then, and that's a really good lap time there from Dual Beam. And Relentless Peas goes into P3 as well, a 15.1, 800 separates those two between Seeb and P, so fine margins, very close times indeed, and this will suit up to be a really great race as well, I'm sure of it. Bunnies has joined, so I presume to see him in the party very shortly, and Alfa Romeo is making his way towards the line now to probably start his flying lap, but I think majority of drivers on their flying laps then, and this could be an interesting showdown towards the end of qualifying. Can anybody try and match Dual Beam's 14.8 there? I don't think I got in the 14s. I think it was a 15.5 which I set, which probably put me down into P10. His rotation's crashed out of turn 3. You can see the yellow flags right there, and he's out of the qualifying session. So probably lit the rear tyres up and hit the wall, unfortunately for him. It's not like in real life where you see a yellow flag in the game and you have to slow down. Imagine if they put that in the game. Ooh, AJ there, a bit of oversteer on the exit of 5. But rotation drops into P7 now with, I think, Williams middle of the order of Nathan, who goes into P4 with a 15.2. And now Sweet Khan gets the first lap time on the board with a 14.9 there. And he's a tenth slower than Dual Beam then, so that's very interesting indeed. AJ Wuhan, he's 2 tenths up in his middle sector. This could put him into P3. And now we're going to hook up this final sector. Only about 3 corners this final sector, but 3 slow speed corners and the rear tyre. Look at that, a massive slap of oversteer once again. Imagine what he could have done if he didn't have those slaps of oversteer. That's definitely cost him a lot of time, and AJ was frustrated with that, but he makes his way now towards the final corner. It's a 15.1, so he actually still improves. Imagine if he can get it hooked up. This would be a really good lap time if AJ can get it hooked up, get in the 14s I presume. Just those slaps of oversteer where the tyres are not just living at the back end, unfortunately. And Bunnies has joined the party then, so good evening mate, or good afternoon, how are you?
Pretty good. You know, heart rate very elevated. I was just basically running back to my room from class. Yeah, had something going on quite late, but happy to be here now, even if there's only 5 minutes left in qualifying. But it's looking interesting so far. You know, Joel Bream on provisional pole at the moment, Nathan second, Sweet Crown only third after, of course, winning last week. And yeah, so looking pretty interesting so far. The 2 retirements, rotation, did he crash or did he retire in the pits? Do you know?
He crashed coming out of turn number 2, sorry, just lost the back end and stepped out on him, which put him in the wall, so it's a shame for rotation there, over-rotating the car, and P10 will be his best there, depending if the guys behind can find any more lap times. But yeah, look at that then, a 14.8 from Dual Beam puts his AlphaTauri on pole position. He has got great pace, but he has been unlucky last season in CRL. I would love to see what he would have done as well if he didn't have those moments of himself. But hopefully he could come back stronger this season and see what he could do in that AlphaTauri, because he was the McLaren last season. But hopefully can have a change in fortune for once and see what he could do, because I remember first lap incidents as well, and yeah, that's about it really. With 3 minutes and 55 seconds left to go in qualifying, then majority, in fact all the drivers are in the pit lane, smally balls and rotation, watching from the sidelines with me and Bunny to see who will take pole position. And once this qualifying ends, I'm going to dash to the toilet because I need it desperately too. So hopefully this qualifying session ends. We're just waiting for cars to get on the circuit and do their final lap times, but it should be very interesting to see if anybody could snatch a pole position with a better time than the 14.8.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very impressive lap time there. Of course, I don't know the forecast, but of course, evidently qualifying is dry, which is interesting. Tier 3, for example, having a almost entirely wet race, Having something I'd never seen before, actually, where it started to rain before they had even started the formation lap, and then it stopped raining, and then it started to rain before we'd finished the formation lap, and then started to rain, and then it stopped raining, and then it started to rain before they'd finished, like, lap 1. So, an interesting race there, but I would imagine it's probably dry. Chances are it's dry for today, but certainly could be interesting either way, and a dry qualifying session, so lots of grip available to the drivers. All of them will be on soft compound tires, of course, and it's going to be Bosch Evans, who is the first to take their final flying lap.
It is indeed. As you can see on the full track map, there's a flurry of cars exiting the pit lane then, so hopefully you don't get messy like it did back at Jeddah when Pease and Walter started their flying laps at the same time. Pease missed turn 22, and unfortunately Walter was there too to get collected. Actually, Joe Beam was taken out too, along with Tobe, so both Alpha Tigers got caught up in that incident too, but hopefully none of that here in Hungary. Not a difficult track like it is in Saudi Arabia. 14 corners though can catch a lot of people out, especially the final 2 corners, because slow speed corners, the rear end will be stepping out on you like it did on AJ, and could anybody hook up a really good lap time around here at this 4.3 kilometer circuit then. So final chance, Posh Evans might be encountering some traffic, and there's 2 more cars in the pit lane, which is rotation and smalling balls. They're not going out because one of them has got qualifying ban, I presume, and the other one's crashed out at turn 2. So here we are on board with the one and only Haas in this qualifying session, coming out of turn 1, nice exit there, no signs of wheel spin as we head into turn number 2, then braking down through the gears into 3rd, fed on the throttle, back on it immediately as you exit the corner. Turn 3, flat out, easy flat out there, although you could validate on the exit. We saw Marcus Emerson crash there at turn 3 back in 2014, but it was wet as well on that occasion. 800s up in the first sector as we head through this long right-hander at turn number 5, easing it out on the curb. Now through this low chicane, breaking the 50-meter board, down into 3rd we go, clipping the apexes. Really good exit there from Posh Evans, really committed as well, placed the car. Maybe a bit too much curb, but got away with it because I can't get away with that one. The amount of curb I take through there, a spin, even if it's a light tap. Now we're coming through turn number 11, then slight lift off on the entry, using all the curb. 2 tenths up in his final sector is Posh Evans. He's finding time. Now, can he find any more time in his final sector as we make our way down into turn 13? This slow speed left-hander into 2nd, then into 3rd immediately. We can see a car off the racing line to give Posh Evans the respect and sports etiquette he expects around here. Posh Evans coming towards the line now. It's going to be a P8 for the Haas man, and that's the best he could do then, so we await other people's responses, and I think an Alpine is next across the line. Is that Relentless Berg P, sorry, wow, that's a big mess up for me, apologies about that. I went on board with P's, I meant to say Ferg, but I mixed those 2 names up. 4-letter words those 2 are. But what can the Brit do coming towards the final corner then? Has he improved on his lap time? A bit of a murmur coming at the final corner there as he crosses the line now, and he it's a 50.3 then for him, unfortunately. We've got Mercedes making his way towards the line. Who is that? That's Eero Strange, who goes into P13. His teammate, however, coming towards the line now. Where did he go? Because I looked at the view counter. AJ goes P6 in the Alfa Romeo, and let's go on board with the main contenders there. Walter, a few hundreds up in this middle sector. Can he find any more time to try and snatch pole away from Jewel Beam, who's currently out there on the circuit? I don't know where he is, either through sector 1 or 2. Here he is then, coming towards the line now. What can he do on his final lap? He goes P3 with a 14.9, and Nathan JB takes pole away with a 14.8, a sensational lap time there from him. And now Jewel Beam's left. No, it's not, because he's 6 seconds down the first sector, assuming he's made a mistake somewhere, and he has. C Royal Gamer goes into P2 for Ferrari. What a great lap time indeed. The man who came up the ranks through tier 3 to tier 1 after spending the season getting used to his wheel, has put a really good lap time together, and he goes P2. What a sensational lap time that is, as Taupe unfortunately can't improve and stays in P17. Then McKenny, the only driver not to set a lap time in his qualifying session, was out there for all of it, but unfortunately couldn't hook a lap together, and he'll be the last place. So while this qualifying session ends, I will quickly go to the toilet.
Yeah, a very interesting qualifying session there. I caught something very bizarre on camera, though, actually. Joel Bream, on his flying lap, just braked right before the finish line, and then wasn't pushing on that lap that we thought he had made a mistake on. He hadn't been pushing right from the start. So a bit of a strange one there, but a good qualifying session overall, nonetheless. So I'll run you through the grid order quickly. It is CRL Nathan JB on pole position with a 14.8, an excellent lap from him. Is that the second pole position in a row, possibly? I'm not sure, but he's certainly been at the front a lot so far. Then it is Sieb in second, Julbream third, fourth Sweet Crown, fifth is Frank, Rezify sixth, Bompia seventh, AJ Wuhan eighth, Hargreaves ninth, and Pease 10th. Then it's Bosch Evans, Ferg, Rotation, Strange, Dertamo, Chaza, Taupe, Smalley Balls, and Kenny rounds out the grid. So only 19 drivers today, 5 seconds left to look at the grid. Very close times between Sieb and Julbream, only 1,000th apart for those two, rather interestingly. So that's quite close between them. Still uncertain as to what happened with Julbream breaking before the finish line. But yeah, we are waiting for the grid to be decided. Not decided, apologies. Drivers to pick their strategies. And I'm just going to grab a drink of water quickly, so apologies, but there will be silence for just a moment. You can think on who will win. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I am back. Hello?
Welcome back.
We saw a mixture of conditions back in Tier 3. Will it happen in Tier 1 though? But it looks to be bone dry and sunny, but you never know with the changes of conditions here. It is unpredictable. Oh, it's not unpredictable for the drivers because they know the weather radar, but for us, it's very interesting and intriguing to see what could happen during this race too, so I can't wait for it. Usually it's a hard to medium strategy, or mediums to hards, but I prefer the other way, the hards to mediums, because you can go very long on the hard compound tyres and take the mediums to reduce stint while they have the freshness in them to go to the end. So I can't wait to see what the strategy is going to be. Sorry about I'm out of breath, so just ran up and down the stairs to get back here in time. I'm not quite sure if there is a formation lap on. Was there in Saudi Arabia?
There was in Saudi Arabia, but we had those issues. There wasn't in Tier 3 for Hungary, so I'd imagine there won't be today either. No, there was in Hungary, yeah. No, I think we'll have the formation lap. I'm thinking of a different league where we didn't use formation lap because of some glitches we had. Oh, is there? No, there's a formation lap, okay.
There is then a formation lap, and the drivers will get to warm up their tyres using the brake and accelerate technique. Obviously can't do that in real life as well because it'll break the engine. But interestingly, C-Raw Gamer has started on those soft compound tyres then. So let's see if it pays dividends for his strategy. We've got a few hard runners out there. I said mediums to hards, hards to mediums or mediums to hards, but with people on the softs, I don't expect to be, and quite majority of the mediums. Do you think there could be rain later on in this race? Is that what these drivers could be planning?
I'm kind of doubtful on that. There just doesn't look like there's that many clouds in the sky. I mean, there certainly are some, but it's maybe a medium cloud setting. So it's hard to say for sure. It is a bit bizarre that Sieb is thinking of a soft compound tire at the start. But it's also possible they're trying to get the mediums out of the way because tire heat is a huge problem at this track. It's so easy to overheat the tires here. And it's possible they're trying to get the mediums out of the way so that they can have a nice long finishing stint on the hards. It's possible for Sieb that he wants to either run the softs until a safety car or even just really extend that hard stint and be on the softs until then. Apologies, but I'm going to drink a small bit more water just before the start.
I don't think the tyre wear as bad as I thought it'd be around here in Hungary. It was torrential, I think it was a few games ago. But tyre temperature will be a management problem, so let's see how the tyres will get on during this phase, this Grand Prix. But you can see then AlphaTauri who decides to go in front of these two. That's Julbream and P3. hopefully, yeah, it's a ghosted car anyway, so he won't be hitting the back of that solid car and getting him disqualification as all the drivers line up on the circuit. We were missing one driver, which is Antonio, who finished in P4 at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, and he won't be taking part here tonight either. He finished in P2 last season when he was fighting with Aurelien, or seasons ago, and Kenny got his first podium as well in that season too, so that's great for him. I think he got 2 in that season, or was it 1 at the Dutch Grand Prix? I can't actually remember now, but there's been so many seasons and so much things to remember as well. It's hard to remember, but here we are then. Is this going to be a race to remember? As we await the lights to go off here at the Hungarian Grand Prix, they might get spicy down into turn number 1. ILT has to get a good start of those soft compound tyres. We can see now Alpine's out of position there, but off we go then. Let's see what happens here in round 2. Nathan covers the inside and immediately Steve's got dual beam for company as we head down into turn number 1 then. You can see up the inside goes the Ferrari, outbreaks himself. Nathan immediately does the switchback, but here we are, both AlphaTauri and Red Bull side by side. 2 different groups going side by side as we head down into turn 3. Sieb has the inside line, late to the brakes. We can see Walter trying to go around the outside into turn 3, has the inside line now. Which one of them will get ahead of each other as we got a time on it? The timer's retired already. Sweet Crown just nudges forwards before the safety car is deployed then. So a full-blown safety car already as the Ferraris crashed at the exit of turn number 2.
Yeah, very chaotic opening few corners. Sieb outbraking himself into turn 1 and Nathan in doing so, but Nathan trying to fight back. Sieb on those soft tires just getting the traction and taking the lead. So the Ferrari will lead us across the line on lap 1 barring any unexpected pit stops. Sweet Crown also managing to just edge ahead of Julbream in those first few corners. Through turn 2 they were side by side and the Red Bull now ahead. Into third position, Julbream, of course, Sweet Crown, apologies, coming off a win at Saudi Arabia, I believe. So the Red Bull doing quite well for himself so far. A win in the first round of the season, and although it's only lap 1, starting off the second round of the season quite well.
And the Tamo in the chat saying to Rotation, what the hell are you doing? So a Rotation and the Tamo unfortunately involved in that battle. One Ferrari is out of this race, the other one is currently leading on those soft compound tyres, and that was very crucial to overtake Nathan into turn 1 there. I thought he didn't have it covered, I thought he had to watch out for Julbream, but actually Julbream had his hands covered with Sweet Crown, who was alongside him at turn 1. There is the Mercedes safety car waiting to pick up the Ferrari and the Williams as the pack come now. I don't think anybody's pitted except Strange, who's replacing his front wing then. So this safety car is useful for him. Not quite sure what contact he got involved with, whether he tried to avoid that incident or not. But unfortunately he's down in P18 on a brand new set of, let's see what tyres he's opted to go for. Hard compound tyres then, so could take him for a long stint in this race, then eventually switch over to the medium compound tyres then. So, softs being used at this stage of the race, and let's see if that's going to pay any benefits for Sieb, the only driver on the soft compound tyres then. So that's going to be a very interesting strategy. I think it's going to be a 2-stop strategy, because if he does softs to hards, he'll be pounded by those guys behind who will eventually be on those hard compound tyres if they wanted to be towards the end of this race.
Yeah, and with Sieb being on softs, it's hard to say. I mean, generally when you have a vastly different strategy to literally the entirety of the rest of the grid, it either means you're doing something perfectly right or something horribly wrong. There are some exceptions to that, but they're not common. So it's hard to say how this will go for Sieb, but I can't say I expect those softs to last too long, not necessarily for the sake of tire wear, but simply because I think the heat will get to be too much for them. Of course, softer tires heating up more, both faster and more than harder tires. So Sieb may be struggling with tire temperatures. Mediums, based on the Tier 3 race that I was a part of, mediums not horrible, but also for tire temperatures, but also at the same time we were literally driving in the rain, so it's a little bit hard for me to judge that, as the rain would have been bringing down the temperatures a bit, but no, I think the softs will probably overheat a bit unless Sieb is really good with his tire temperatures, so it will be hard. It'll be very difficult for him to bring these softs particularly far, so that is why I do wonder if he's maybe hoping to pit onto hards at a certain point, and just really bring those a long way. But then it becomes a matter of how far can you bring the hards.
We'll see then, because we pitted very early at the stage of the race as well. The guys behind will have fresher hard compound tyres, and Steve Gamer, I think he's been on the podium quite a few times, has the Dutchman, but in terms of wins, I don't think he has picked up a win yet in his CRL season so far. And I'm trying to scroll through the results because I don't know if you know, but I think it was a few months ago, back in August, I did some stats and comparing everybody's. He's actually got 2 wins, so apologies for that, Steve. Oh yeah, I remember now. It was at the British GP and the Baku GP. I remember those 2. I think he won the Silverstone Grand Prix on his 3rd appearance in that season too. Baku, he managed to fend from Walter, so I was getting confused between Bompier and Steve. So apologies, Steve. You have won 2 races. It's Bompier who hasn't won any race yet. He has got a few podiums, one of them being at this circuit a few seasons ago. But the safety car is coming to the end, and we'll see then the race in action, presume, once again there. So we'll see if Game will be able to pull away in the distance while it's been on those soft compound tyres, or will the guys behind just stick with him until his soft start fading away then. So we'll see what happens once the safety car comes in. DRS will be enabled 2 laps later, obviously with the safety car period being out, only enabled 2 laps later. They are talking about it, well, I don't know if they are still, but trying to get DRS enabled as soon as the safety car goes in. Here we are then, heading on to lap 4 at 35. Looks like Walter's close in the back of CRL Nathan, and he stays ahead for the time being as we head down into 1. I can see P's close to Reservoir as we head down. Late on the brakes is P's, goes up into P7, but you can see Reservoir still hanging on there, and now gets a bad exit. Here comes Ferg. Both Alpines might go through as we head down into turn 3 then, and that was an easy move there from Ferg with the help of his teammate, and Reservoir couldn't get the throttle as quickly as he would have wanted as he was on the curb, and obviously you don't want to get the throttle there on the curb because you have no traction and therefore spin out. So he's down his 2 places, unfortunately, is Reservoir. I can see there P's a bit happy on the back end of the car as he wobbled coming out of turn number 3, but sticks with it too. And so far, looking good so far, as both Alpines in P7 and P8. And it's a great pair in P's and Ferg to be together as well. 2 great mates, known each other for a long time, raced with each other quite a long time as well. It's very interesting to see what they do when they come close on the track. But ILTC then continues to lead the Grand Prix, trying to go for his 3rd win in his CRL career. And Nathan JB, who won at the Brazilian Grand Prix and Saudi Arabia. Nathan JB has picked up a few wins here in CRL too, along with his brother in P10. His brother couldn't hook up on a qualifying lap, sadly for him. Who knows where he might have been if he hooked it up, because it was a really great lap time, but unfortunately at turn 13 and turn 14 the back of the car would just not live with it, and he starts down in P10 as we head on to lap 5 with Seavor Gamer setting the fastest lap of this race. Then DRS will be enabled in 1 lap time, and let's have a look at the ERS management and who's used a lot and who's conserved the most battery, trying to use it in attack and defense mode. Then looks like the lap 2 are level pegging on the ERS so far with 65% to their name. Walter in P3 there with 95%, so he's barely used any ERS. He's quite good at ERS management, that's why he's been so sufficient in the last few races. Has Sweet Crown in P3, and Walter is Sweet Crown if you hear me talk about Walter, by the way, Bunny, so you don't get confused who is who.
Yeah, lots of these drivers, long-term members of CRL, so going by their actual names sometimes instead of their usernames, Walter or Sweet Crown included. Yeah, you're comparing the ERS between Seb and Nathan, both around 65% as you mentioned. Sweet Crown at 90-something, and Julbrun the same. But IRT Frank, on the other hand, down in the 40s, just back up to the 50s under braking just now. But so IRT Frank potentially feeling some pressure from Bompia behind, maybe trying to pressure Julbrun, but certainly Bompia seems a bit closer than Frank is to Julbrun, so I wonder if Frank may be feeling some pressure there, the second of the 2 Red Bulls, but vastly different between those 2 Red Bulls for ERS, as Taupe is getting past Smalley Balls. Taupe actually falls back behind. I think Smalley Balls might have gotten better traction out of turn 1. Taupe is going to have to sit behind for the time being, might have better pace at the moment based on the attempted move. But also worth noting, in case we have another safety car or something that you might have noticed on the previous safety car restart, is just how difficult it is to get a good jump on the driver in front off of the safety car restart, simply because of the nature of the final corner being that sort of long hairpin, and especially with the finish line being so close to it, and this pit straight just not being all that long. And most drivers will go partway through the hairpin or into the hairpin, and it's so difficult to keep a small gap. So the two Alpines managing to get past Resify on the restart was very impressive, and if we have another restart, it'll be worth noting that, as it'll be a big advantage for the leader, because they'll probably be able to pull out a bit of a gap off the restart.
And here comes Bompia then on IRT Frank. Frank has been struggling in the middle sector, the back of the car sticking out as we head into one. Has he outbroke himself? Yes, he has. Will Frank be able to come back underneath him? If I can find the right camera angles, of course, as we head down now into turn 2. Bompia should have the DRS on Frank, which he does, and he stays in P5 then. So there's a bit of a gap now between P5 and P4, 2.3 seconds, and that was down to Frank struggling. So we've got a second group in this DRS trade, with both Alpines looking very interesting, Reservoir behind, and AJ Wuhan. Oh, a bit of a snap there from Frank as he continues to fight with the car as we head through the high-speed corner of turn before. The back of the car just not settling in, unfortunately, and that's what's costing him time too. It's very important as well in those slow-speed corners, because it's make or break through there, carrying the speed or not, and unfortunately he suffered with it so far. So let's see if he can try and live with it, or try and find some momentum and keep with Bompia in that DRS. Can Bompia claw his way down? It's going to be very difficult, you know, try and get back in DRS in your rivals. Any track is just so difficult, as Frank goes out wide at turn 13, and he might have picked himself up a track limit warning. Talk about track limit warnings, I saw Bompia go out wide at turn 11 on the exit 2, and he might have picked up a track limit warning. That's going to be very crucial, you know. And Yulbeam has actually dropped out of DRS, but he's still got it because he was in the detection point under a second. But will we see a move into turn 1 between Frank and Pease? Here we are, down this turn 1, the Red Bull go defensive, making Pease go the long way round, and let's see who outplays who into 1. You can see Frank lays the brakes there, pushing Pease on the curb, and you can see they're wobbling, coming out of turn 1, and now his teammate backs off because obviously both Alpines working well with each other and don't want to fight with each other. So P stays ahead of Ferg. Any other driver would have attempted that move, but both Alpines working really well with each other.
Yeah, clearly a lot of good coordination between those two Alpines. Good friends, I believe you said earlier. So lots of good coordination, as I said. But Frank, some very aggressive defense there, pushing P's a little bit wide. But I wonder. Pease will probably just be getting frustrated by that, and I wonder if that'll lead to him making more aggressive moves himself. We'll see if he does choose to dive into turn 1. Frank managing through sector 2 decently well this time, and Bompia not pulling away too much, so I wonder if Frank might be... as Frank actually runs wide through the third to last corner, so that is not what Frank will have wanted. That'll lose him a little bit of time, potentially get him a warning. And no drivers picking up any time penalties yet, as we are on lap 8. But Nathan, pretty close to the back of Sieb. I don't think he's going to go for a move this time round, but back to Pease on the back of Frank. He moves to the inside. He's going to try and brake later down the inside into turn 1. He loses the rear end. He spins. Frank spins him around. There's contact between all three of those drivers, including Ferg. Both Alpines and Frank, and there's chaos down towards turn 2. AJ Wuhan gaining a couple positions. Resify gaining a couple positions. And so much chaos there, as Bosch Evans also getting through Frank. I can't tell if he has any damage. I don't believe he does. But now it's going to be Smalley Balls trying to go around the outside of Frank. He gets around the outside, and I wonder if Frank does have a bit of damage, because he seems a little bit slow through those corners. It's going to be Hargreaves behind him next, but a little bit of a gap, so I wonder if Frank will be able to sort of get control of the cars. There's more contact. Taupe is around. It looks like Chazo was going slowly, so I wonder if there's been contact between those two, as it's all happening down on lap 9 through the first and second sectors.
It is indeed, and unfortunately for both Alpines who've run in such a great race, there's a driver off the track. That is an Alpine driver who I expect to go off the track. Frank is moving down the orders for some reason. He's down in P12, so he's really struggling at this stage of the race. It's fine, probably those tyres overheating or the setup not going his way whatsoever. Qualified an amazing P5, but in terms of race pace, it's deteriorating. Might have sustained a bit of front wing damage, like you said. Nathan looking for a move on Sieb, but not on this occasion. Into turn 1, unless Sieb outbreaks himself. Nathan can get a decent run on him and try and get him down into turn 2. You can see there a bit of wheel spin too, as Rotation and Hargreaves are fighting. Rotation's up into P10, but what's going to happen down at turn 2 between Nathan and See choosing the outside line, go for a wider line, maybe due to tyres not being grippy whatsoever, but stays in P1 for the time being. I noticed Julbeam is still out of DRS range, so I thought I'd be back in it with these two squabbling, but he's struggling so far in this race. Is Julbeam, I say struggling, he's in P4, so that's a great result still, but in terms of getting back in DRS, he's struggling. Our first penalty goes towards Reservoir, picking up a 3-second time penalty in the most expected place, and now Strange has got one down in P13 as well, so unfortunately for him, those two are picked up penalties. But yeah, Taupe, I don't think he made contact with Chaz. I think he spun by himself at turn 5, clipping the inside curb like he was at the Spanish Grand Prix at turn 13, and unfortunately spun himself around. So that's a massive shame for Taupe down there, and both Alpines as well. I think P's just plainly locked up the rear tyres, just went in a bit too deep and locked up, and unfortunately that's what caused the spin. And the Constantino effect with his teammate getting involved as well. Reservoir gained about 3 places, went from P9 to P6, watched it all unfold between the 3 drivers ahead, and gained a lot of positions in P6, but now has a penalty to his name. I saw an Alfa Romeo go down the inside, and Bosch Evans took advantage of it too, so all happened on that line, lap 9 like you said. But Steve still hasn't been overtaken. Those soft compound tyres looking like they've got good life so far. I don't think they'll be very nice on that car of the Ferrari, but still preserving P1, keeping Nathan at bay. Nathan just buying his time, not going for any rash moves, because he knows he's on a better compound tyre. He's just going for the easiest move, a DRS pass, and try and drop Sieb and back him in towards Wilder. But you can see Sieb a bit wide through turn number 4. Might have got himself a track limit warning. That's a shame there for Sieb, because these tyres dying. You can't recover from these tyres whatsoever. They're just going to be overheating like hell and constantly sliding around under that Ferrari. But Sieb is managing it so far. Be very careful. Can he try and extend this stint to go to the hard compound tyres? I don't think we go towards the mediums, because soft to medium is not doable, as my controller's glitched out and went on board with the Alpine there. So back on board with P1 then, with Sieb versus Nathan, and let's see how long it will take Nathan to overtake Sieb as well. He's keeping an eye on Wilder, because the battle between the P1 and P2 last week in Jeddah was incredible, and Nathan trying to get a win as well. Looks like he's coming for the championship. I say that, it is early doors this season, but Nathan's picked up a lot of pace since then, and looking to try and go for his first championship of the season, of his season then. And let's see, he's a bit too far behind to make any sort of lunge into turn 1. Dual beam still outside the DRS range of Sweet Climb there, so not able to get in that sweet zone of 1 second to get the extra speed down the straight as he wants. But he's got to try and find his way through it, because if he don't, then he's going to be dropping the back of these two, as the DRS will be very powerful around any circuit. It's just so hard to claw your way back in. But I think Reservoir and AJ are quite close together in turn number 2. I think they are. Yes, they are then. So they're fighting underneath each other, and let's see what happens as Reservoir still preserves the inside line. So I presume AJ went down the inside into 2, but Reservoir held the outside line, carrying more speed, and ultimately stayed in P6. But if he keeps doing that, he might pick himself up more penalties as he went wide. Could have turn 4 once again then, so be very careful of track limits around this circuit, because it's very brutal indeed. You want to carry a lot of speed, but no room for error whatsoever going out wide.
Yeah, and worth noting the ERS of those top 3. Both Nathan and Sweet Crown almost actually at 100%, whereas Sieb pushing so hard is down at about 30%, and Julbeam is finally into the DRS of Sweet Crown for the time being. Going through the detection point, he looks like he has maintained it, so we'll have DRS on this time round. And it is Nathan quite close to Sieb. It looks like he might be close enough on this occasion. Sieb defends the inside. Nathan goes to the outside. Sieb blocks the rears, it looks like. And Nathan's going to be on the inside. It's going to be the outside when they get to the next corner, though. Can Nathan outbrake Sieb round the outside into the braking zone? He's on the curb. He's going round the outside. He's going to have more grip than Sieb, surely. But Sieb's going to fight it out. He's on the outside for turn 3 now, still side by side. Sieb goes off the track, has to concede the position. And Nathan takes the lead of the Grand Prix in the Williams. Sweet Crown's going to look for any opportunity he can on Sieb now, because Sweet Crown knows his tires should be about the same as Nathan's, while Sieb will surely be struggling like crazy on these softs.
Yeah, great move indeed from Nathan JB. Just buying his time. He's playing the patient long game in this race, as everybody does. As you can see, Nathan just edging forward to see him had a moment coming out of turn number 10, I believe that was. Now through 11 we go. and into 12, so I think that was turn 8 actually. Got my corners mixed up around in that middle sector there, but can Nathan try and break the DRS while he has the chance? Walter has to respond immediately on Sieb. We're trying to overtake him down into turn 1, and Sieb's still sitting on those soft compound tyres then, so we're trying to extend this soft tyre as long as he can, but he can feel the grip dissipating lap by lap. And let's see if Sweet Clown's close enough to make a lunge into 1. He knows that Ferrari's quite low on the ERS. You can see the back of the car flashing, but not close enough, and he won't use a bit more ERS than he has to into 1. So coming out of turn 1, the massive wheel spin for the Red Bull driver, but he won't make a move into 2 either because he's too far behind. So an extra lap Nathan's got to try and break that DRS range in the middle sector, where the tyres will be much better, carrying more speed as well, better on the brakes, where Sieb might be standing around. You can see it's 9/10 already then, so this could be Nathan's moment to try and break the DRS once and for all. And Sweet Clown then will have to try and make a move into turn 1 on the next lap. As you can see, he's broke the DRS away from Sieb now. He can start to pull away while Walter has to try and overtake Sieb into probably turn 11 is the best place to do it, in the most safest place, if you can get alongside enough, but turn 1's the best place to do it as well. So we'll see when Walter decides to pounce, but Nathan there pushed as hard as he can. He used a lot more ERS than he did the last lap. He did have 100% a few laps ago. Now he's down to 57, trying to break that DRS range. But as we head down into turn number 12, Sweet Clown's too far away to make any sort of move, and we'll see then. It should be an easy move into turn 1, I dare say, unless Sieb goes into the pit lane this lap. No, he doesn't then, so I think he might get him down into turn 1, will Sweet Clown.
No, but Sieb has gotten himself the DRS, so if he can defend with the overtake enough, he should be safe from Sweet Crown on this occasion. No, Sweet Crown going down the inside now into turn 1. Sweet Crown on the inside, brakes later, gets the better line, gets the better traction. He's going to pull away down towards turn 2 now, as it looked like Sieb potentially getting a tiny bit of wheel spin there. So now it'll be Julbream's turn to try and get past the driver struggling on the old softs, but Julbream a little bit far back. And this is not quite what Nathan will have wanted. Nathan over a second ahead of Sweet Crown, which he will be liking quite a bit, but also at the same time, Nathan not as far away as he could be, because Sieb managed to get DRS on him on the previous lap. Feel like maybe Nathan could have pulled away a tiny bit more on that lap, so I wonder if he made a tiny mistake in the second sector. But it is over a second back to Sweet Crown at the moment, so Nathan should be pretty, reasonably happy with the current situation, as he's going to come up to the penultimate corner now, as AJ Wuhan picking himself up a 3-second time penalty, and we'll see through the detection zone. Will Sweet Crown be within a second? He won't be. So Sweet Crown, no DRS on this lap, and Nathan will be glad as Sieb throws it into the pits. So we'll see which tires he pits onto, as he just about gets it slowed down before the pit entrance line. It's Julbream up into P3, Bompia up to P4, and everyone else up another position as well. It is Sieb onto the mediums, so an interesting decision there, soft-medium strategy, thinking the mediums can go another 20 laps. That's pretty believable. I mean, a lot of the drivers having taken their mediums 15 laps at this point, so 5 more laps on those sounds viable, but we'll see if they choose to pit onto hards or softs when they come in. Sieb showing that the softs are not an impossible strategy, but a lot of drivers on the hards.
We'll see if anybody's preserved a set of soft compound tyres. Probably people did about 3 runs on those set of softs, because I don't think I would have saved a set of softs coming into this race, because I'm always thinking about the hard, medium, or medium hard strategy. I always underestimate the soft compound tyres, as long as you've got good time management in the race to try and make them as long as he did as well, especially with that pace Sieb had, because I'm surprised he dropped more down the field with the tyres going off, because Bompia was about 5.6x behind, so that was great pace on the first stint. Now the problem is, if a safety car comes out for Sieb, it might be detrimental for his race, as the rest of them can pit, as Julbream is pitting then, so that's only 1 lap later. But George Hargreaves has gone for a spin, where Max Verstappen put it in the wall back in 2020 on his reconnaissance lap to the grid, and they fixed it in time too. So that's an odd spin there, unless you lock the rears up or try to go for a move or make contact with somebody. But as Julbream heads into the pit lane, it's going to be a set of hard compound tyres, because the softs won't make it, the hards will, and you don't want to do a 2-stop around here because it's much slower anyway. So Sieb should have the undercut on Julbream with the 1 lap extra freshness of tyres, as Posh Evans sets the fastest lap of the race on the new hard compound tyres for 18.5. Now Peace takes that fastest lap of the race as well. only one safety car in this race, and actually Nathan has extended his margin over Sweetcrown as well, so he actually has the pure pace over the Red Bull driver, as the Red Bull driver is trying to go for his second win of the season. Then the gap's down to 1.2, so he keeps fluctuating between 1.2 to 1.4. Both has got strong even pace there. Can Nathan keep this level of consistency up in pure pace? Because I know it's very easy to follow in a DRS train, but when it comes to pure pace with no DRS whatsoever, you got to keep the pace up 100% without making any sort of mistakes whatsoever. Carrying the speed to the corners, don't go out wide, not a single lock up the rear tyres. That's what makes the best driver. As Sweetcrown is in the pit lane then to do the undercut on Nathan JB as he stays out for one lap later. So actually, Seeb on soft compound tyres is actually not an older, much older tyres than the people are pitting now to hard compound tyres. We've got a battle going on between P4, P5 and P6 with smaller balls with that qualification ban up into P6 or P5 now as we head down into turn 1. AJ is too far back to make any sort of impression, but no, Reservoir goes out wide. AJ loses the back end, had to bail out the throttle unfortunately as he had a massive wheel spin and has to stay behind him, and he stays in P4 with Bompier being the lead of this train. It's a Williams 1-2 so far, but you can see Bompier is quite far back behind Nathan JB, and Bompier's doing an amazing job in this race too. So where has Sweetcrown rejoined? He's been undercutted by Seeb, as you expect, 2 lap fresher tyres of course, and Dual Beam 2 in P10, and they're actually behind Strange. So how quickly can they get past Strange? They don't want to get hold up whatsoever. This is pivotal for this race. It could help Nathan if Strange holds them up, but obviously with guys on older tyres, you don't want to make contact with them. As we head down into 6, outbreaks him and gets the move done. Now it's Walter's turn. Be very careful not to hit the back of the Mercedes, but doesn't stay behind him for long as he goes up the inside and makes the move. Great move there from Walter. That was very crucial not to get stuck behind someone on older tyres to prevent him doing the undercut.
Yeah, Sweetcrown doing his absolute best here, but Nathan not pitting on this occasion, so I do wonder if Nathan's going to try and do the reverse of Seeb, seeing just how successful the softs are. I wonder if he'll try to extend the mediums a long distance and go onto the softs towards the end of the race. I think Seeb taking his softs around about 15 laps, as Seeb actually, as I say that, setting the fastest lap of the race, so 118.182, that's a very good lap. For the time being. We'll see, though, will Nathan, pit onto the softs, as I was saying. I think it's not impossible. Seeb taking his tires about 15-odd laps, so if Nathan goes a couple laps longer on those mediums, he could pit onto the softs, and will presumably have quite a substantial pace advantage over Sweetcrown, but in the meantime, Sweetcrown will have will probably have an undercut on Nathan, only 18.5 seconds back at this point. And not sure exactly how long a pit stop is here. The pit lane not too long, but I suspect it is more than 18.5 seconds. So we'll see, as Bosch Evans also getting past Strange, and Strange sort of falling down the grid order on those old hards. But we'll see how that goes for him, and we'll see Nathan again not pitting on this lap, so I do wonder maybe he is taking that strategy. His teammate also staying out again, Bompia and Resify, both Alfa Romeos as well. So quite a few medium runners staying out, but now Seeb only about 2.5 seconds off the back of that front train, that front running group, so we'll see how soon he can catch them, as Sweetcrown setting a new fastest lap of the race on this occasion. And yeah, I do wonder if Seeb will potentially get held up by that group in front at all. We'll see if he can catch them fast enough, or if they'll pit before he catches them, as P's getting past Hargreaves into turn 1. And a little bit of movement further back, but I think that might have had to do with IRT Frank pitting.
And Chaza is ahead of Hargreaves too. Both McLarens have been with each other throughout the whole race, but now one's on the mediums and the other is on the hard compound tyres. Chaza going for an early pit stop, and I think they're both on different tyres too in the stint they had together. But I want to talk about Eero Strange, because I think at one time he was in P11, but he dropped back dramatically because he had a massive slide out of turn 3, so he's definitely losing the rear end. Is Eero Strange. He lost 3 positions in one corner, as he lost the rear completely in turn 3 and allowed Chaza, Hargreaves and Kenny through too, so he's really struggling out there. Is Aero Strange, who hasn't pitted yet, neither has Hargreaves. Remember, he had that spin coming out of turn number 12 where we're headed now. Bompier has pitted and rotation 2 in that train as well, so it'll make it easier for Steve as well, because if he did catch this train, with all having DRS, it'll be very hard to overtake. A Sweet Crown once again sets his fastest lap for Oracle Red Bull Racing. I think he's about to make a move into 1. Yeah, there he is. He's overtaken Dual Beam, so he's caught him quite quickly. He's used a lot of ERS too, has Sweet Crown, to catch him and overtake him. So pulled the deficit down, and he's up into P5.
And Bompier, AJ Wuhan, and Rotation all wanted the softs on this lap. So I would imagine that when Nathan finally pits, he'll do the same. If these guys think they can bring their softs 14 laps, surely Nathan can bring them an even smaller distance than that. So we'll see how that turns out for him. And Seeb, yeah, right on the back of Smalley Balls, now actually being held up a little bit. Just not able to get through on them through the second sector. Not yet. Of course, the second sector not done yet, and Seeb right on the back of the Alfa Romeo. So we'll see if he goes for an opportunity into this right-hander up here. We saw some moves here in some other tiers. It's going to be Seeb down the inside and through. He pushes Smalley Balls a little bit wide, and it's Nathan into the pits on this occasion. We'll see where he comes out in comparison to the others, but Seeb only about 10 seconds back. Seeb will surely be taking the lead. I don't think there's any question about that, and Sweet Crown not far off of him, so it'll really be down to how advantageous are those soft compound tires for Nathan.
Oh, this is going to be very interesting then. Sweet Crown, Dual Beam on the hard compound tyres. Seeb had to go to the medium. He could have gone hard if he wanted to, but actually he thinks softs to mediums can work in this stint as well. So he had the option to go to hard compound tyres, but with his tyre wear being very sufficient in this race, it's really helping him. But let's see, towards the end of this race, we've got a battle going on here between P6 and P7. It should be an easy move as Strange is on older tyres, of course. So let's see how quickly Peas and Chazza is running a great race so far in P8 on those hard compound tyres. Started at the back of the field down in P17, I believe it was. Now into P9, putting pressure on Peas and Strange ahead of him. Peas trying to do a recovery drive after making contact into turn 1 or lose the back of the car, where his teammates suffer most because he lost his wing. So an innocent bystander in that crash. It was all down to a Constantino effect, with Peas out breaking himself and locking the rears up. I guess a decent exit now. Can he make a move up the inside into turn number 7 we go? He's trying to stick around the outside. Might go off the track though. Might pick up a track limit warning for that, or legal overtake for that matter, but stays ahead as Chazza makes contact to the back of that Mercedes there as we head down into turn number 12 now. Chazza still stays behind for the time being. So Nathan JB, Bompier goes down the inside on those soft compound tyres. Didn't even see him coming there, but great move from the Williams. All like the Williams in tier 3. But let's see then. Strange when he dives the pit lane. There he was. Sweet Crown is on the back. I'll see as we head down into turn 1. DRS enable. Can he get him to turn 2? I think he's too far back on the occasion. Chazza, I think, might get Strange into turn 1, which he does do. Puts himself into P8. AJ on fresher soft compound tyres right behind 2. With rotation making moves. Here we are into turn 1. The Alfa Romeo getting very close to the back of the Mercedes there, but it should get better traction than the Mercedes. Much different tyres, of course. So here we are then. But look at this and further ahead of us. Is that a Williams of Bompier? Yeah, it is. Went up the inside of Peas there. Great move indeed from the Dutchman. Outbroke himself, but still carries the speed around the outside to maintain P6. That was a great move indeed there from Bompier. What's happened further behind? We've got Mercedes slowing down. That's Strange to let his teammate go. You don't want to hold it reservoir, but look at that. Almost made the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo crash into each other as they all get very close then. Strange knows his older tyres, doesn't want to fight them of course, but going to be very careful when you slow down, because turn 4, a fast left-hander there, and there's not a lot of room to go either. Nathan's right behind Posh Evans, but this should be an easy move, judging by the tyre difference and the pace difference they had. And here he is, up into P4 in P12 then. So how far behind is he the leaders? And we've got an Alpine who's spun. And that's Relentless Ferg out the chicane. Unfortunately, he's gone for that spin. But Sweet Crown so close now, he overtakes Seeb, and he moves himself up into P1 then, ahead of the Ferrari man.
Yep, just into the lead now for Sweet Crown. That was a pretty easy move into turn 1. The newer hards paying dividends so far, and of course Nathan getting past Bosch Evans pretty quickly, and we'll see if Bompier can do the same. But it will be interesting to see how much Nathan can catch up to this leading trio now, because Nathan, of course, on those fresh softs. A Seeb running wide, potentially picking up a warning for himself. Not sure. But we'll see. Julbream is going to sit behind Seeb for the time being, but I imagine we'll see Julbream probably trying to push past in the next couple of laps. And we can see actually Nathan really reeling in this top group. Certainly at least Jilbream, but as I say that, Sweet Crown pulling away from by about 8/10 through that second sector, so Sweet Crown doing very well for himself since overtaking Seed. We'll see Nathan is pushing to try and catch Jilbream and Seed, and I'd also imagine we could expect to see Bompia catching Bosch Evans. We'll see if he can make an overtake. The Williams looking pretty sweet in this race at the moment.
Yeah, he is, and now Jilbream is putting pressure on Seeb ahead of him. And those mediums shouldn't be too bad, but the hards between the mediums aren't too much of a phase across over this point of the race either. So let's see how Seeb gets on in those hardcore pod tyres. But lap by lap, Nathan's taking the advantage out of Sweet Crowd. He's 6.3 seconds behind the leader. Reservoir is in P7 ahead of Chazza. These midfield runners were having a big battle here. We are with the trainer cars. I think Alfa Romeo's about to make an overtake now. Yes, he is. He's up into P11. He's smaller balls. There's a big battle going on in the midfield there. P's lost a lot of positions too in that battle, bitten earlier than the rest of these guys on the hard compounds. That is absolutely swamped by them too. And he's under pressure from ILT Kenny right behind. Kenny gained a podium 2 seasons ago out here in Hungary, but he's 10 places behind where he finished 2 seasons ago with P13, and now he's putting pressure on P's. P13, you can still score some decent points there. I say decent, only one, but the point system goes from P1 down to P13 then, so this is crucial points to be getting, especially the first part of the season. But the Alfa Romeo is looking really good too. We've got AJ now, I think, putting pressure. If I could get the timing boards up, there we go. I'm getting mixed up again. There we are. I disabled it. That's AJ making a move on Chazza into turn 12. We go. Lays the brakes, of course, and up at the inside. And now here comes the Hatter rotation. Crashed out in qualifying around the outside into 13. Now we've got an Alfa Romeo Smalley Porsche trying to make a move, but all the way around the outside, you're bound to lose grip there, and he has to stay behind for the time being. And Chazza is struggling in those hard compound tyres, pissing quite early in comparison to others. And with around him on the soft compound tyres, Smalley Porsche is ahead. In the background, I can see Kenny versus Peas, and Smalley Balls moves himself up into P10. Further behind, what's happening between Kenny and Peas? Stay where they are. In fact, Kenny's got past Peas. He moves himself up into P12. For those who just joined, the reason why Peas and Ferg are further down, they made contact with Frank. Well, I say contact with Frank, I don't think it was contact. I think Peas outbroke himself, tried to make a move on Frank, locked up the rears, and it was just a concertina effect. And it was the first stint of the race. I can't remember exactly what lap it happened, but that's where they're further down. They pitted quite early too to replace their front wings or tyres, and that's why they're down to P30 and P70. They were in P7 and P8 at one point. They both overtook Reservoir the safety car restart, but all avoided it after that, and unfortunately went downhill. But now Seeb is outside the DRS range of Jilbream. Now Jilbream can start putting pressure on the Ferrari in P2. Nathan is gaining again. The gap was 6 seconds a few laps ago. Now it's 4.2 then. So has the medium soft strategy working in Nathan's favours? Can he make the softs go to the end, of course, of this race? Because I remember a few years ago in F1 in Hungary, the softs weren't that great. I was on them about a few laps and it was just terrible, but it seems like the tyres are working at this stage of the Grand Prix. The gap is 3.9 as he continues to gain, but once he does catch up to these two, how difficult would it be to get past these cars, dispose them, and catch up to Wildtails? Rotation has overtaken AJ, and now AJ's followed down the order. There's a yellow flag somewhere. I think that's a Red Bull going out. I think that's Frank again. Rotation's gone wide out of turn 1. And both Alfa Romeos are passed, and they both move themselves up into P8 and in P9. Kenny has overtaken his teammate, of course, moves himself up into P11 now ahead of Chazza. Both McLarens, and Frank is retired in the pit lane too, so no safety cars will be deployed, and he's left the session in frustration. A great qualifying, but unfortunately couldn't transfer it into a decent race, as he struggled with race pace, it seems, not the whole of it, ever since lap 1.
And look at that, Nathan only 1.1 seconds off the back of Jilbream, so close to the DRS zone. He might use a little bit of overtake here to make sure he gets into the DRS range, and he is into the DRS range through the penultimate corner. We'll see through the final corner if he maintains that. He seems to have, yep, he'll get DRS down the pit straight, so we'll see Jilbream, Seeb, and Nathan all in a little bit of a line here. We'll see then Nathan, how quickly can he dispose of these two, because his main target will be Sweet Crown at the moment. About, 7-8 laps to go in this race, so Nathan with a bit of time, but it might be a race against time in terms of how quickly the tires wear out. So we'll see what Nathan can do, as simultaneously, Bompia also still gaining on Bosch Evans, so he'll be going for P5 in the Williams. And some chaos further back. AJ Wuhan right behind rotation. We'll see if AJ Wuhan can make a move on the Haas driver. It's nothing at the moment, but through turn 3, he is in the slipstream. He won't be close enough through turn 4, but might be worth taking a look at them again, maybe as they go down the pit straight on the next lap, because they might be close enough for a move to be made. But it is Nathan right on the back of Joel Bream, and we'll see if he can make a move on this occasion through the third to last corner. Resify picking himself up a penalty, and but as I said, Nathan, nearly hitting the back of Joel Bream. He's got so much more pace on these soft compound tires. Surely he'll just fly past here. He's got more ERS, he's got better tires, he's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, and will he have P3 by the end of the straight? He's going to go to the inside. Surely he can brake later. He does. It's down the inside. Will he maintain that third? He's got it. But is it going to be better traction for him or for Joel Bream? Joel Bream not quite able to fight back, so Nathan up into the podium paying positions. We'll see. Now he will be behind Steve. I can't see him getting the overtake for another, at least until turn 1, surely, unless there are any mistakes from Steve. But you can see the Red Bull up ahead there if you're on board with Nathan, and that is his target. Nathan will be going for the win right now. And just over about, it's a big snap of oversteer for Seed. Just a few laps to go now, and we'll see what Nathan can do.
It seems like Seed was struggling on these medium compound tyres, then the softs in the first stint. It's like it's changed altogether for Steve Gamer. I thought it'd been a prime position on those medium compound tyres. They shouldn't be too bad, judging the way he went on those softs by 15 laps as well. Bosch Evans running his own race in P5, as I finally say his name right. He's called Bosch Evans, not Posh Evans as well, so apologies about that, Bosch. And he's got Bompia at the back of him. I thought Bompia would be rapidly gaining. He has been, but not as quick as I thought it'd be. Here comes Nathan around the final corner. This could be the move that gets him the race win, to catch after Sweet Khan in P1. He overtakes him for P2, and now one more driver left to get P1. This has been a phenomenal race from Nathan JB. The top two, as it were, in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, with Sweet Khan on top, but could it be Nathan's day in P2? Now catching towards the back of the Red Bull. Sweet Khan can see him in his mirrors, but how long will those softs hold out for? They got mighty pace, but let's see if they've got some juice left in them. They should do, but with 5 laps left to go, you never know what could change in this race. Smalley Balls is on the back of Resify. Nothing doing in turn 2, sorry, as we head into 3. But Bosch Evans there doing a phenomenal job. He started in P11. He was one of the first drivers to pit on lap 15. And Smalley Balls has overtaken Resify before turn 4 as well. So he must have had a good slipstream up the hill and overtook him too. Can see Gamer from starting on a pole position, that was Nathan JB, sorry, from starting on P2, keep this podium. He's got Joel Beam all over the back of him too for good measure. So let's see if Steve can try and keep his podium. It'll be first podium of the season too for quite a while, as he wasn't in Tier 1 last season after dropping to Tier 3, trying to adjust to his wheel. But here he is in Tier 1 then. Looks like he's struggling on those medium compound tyres, and now out of the DRS range of Nathan JB as he sets off to Sweet Khan. Nathan reverses Sweet Khan for the win. I can't wait to see what happens with 4 laps left to go. Tuck in, folks. It could be a really good one towards the end of this Grand Prix. The climax is building up, and we'll see Joel being tried to make a move into turn 1, but Steve covers the racing line and stays in P3 for the time being. For how much longer? He's got a lot of defending to do from 4 laps time. 4 laps will feel like a lifetime for him, defending from that AlphaTauri, who's rapidly gaining. Going out wide, it's turn number 2, but still sticking with it. But you can see the AlphaTauri has much more better grip and purchase than the Ferrari ahead of him. But yeah, can't make a move up the inside of turn 4. Too tight there, and obviously don't want to make contact either, so has to stay behind. But turn 1 will probably be his best bet, as Nathan JB is in DRS range on Sweet Khan then. So let's see this battle evolve between the top 2, and I can't wait to see what happens between the top 2. Will it be Nathan JB or will it be Sweet Khan? Resify picks himself up another 3-second time penalty, so he's currently the winner of penalties so far. Is Resify stacking them up and might find himself out of the top 10 if he's not careful either. AJ has also got penalties. Let's have a look at the penalties too. 12-second time penalty for Resify, so that's definitely him outside the top 10 then.
Yeah, and in that top 2, I did just double check all of their lap times. Both drivers with 1 warning, so 1 more warning will not be a penalty for either of them, but if they get another one, they start having to be very careful. And Nathan, he's in the DRS, he's not going to be able to make an overtake on this occasion, but it is one car that separates Nathan and Glory on this day. We'll see if Nathan can take the win, and a very exciting last few laps in store for us. We've got two battles on the podium. Gilbreen going for third, Nathan going for first, both of them with one car separating them and what they are seeking on this occasion. We'll see what happens. Nathan on the softs, or Sweet Crown on the hards, Seb on the mediums, or Gilbreen on the hards. Who will it be for both of those battles? It's so close up at the front, and a really great race so far, and I can't see it becoming a bad race in the last few laps. I think this is going to be a wonderful ending to this race.
I can't wait to see how it goes down either. Nathan is half a second behind Sweet Crown with 3 more laps to go in this race. Can Steve defend from Gilbreen? Can Sweet Crown defend from Nathan? We're about to find out in a few moments' time. However, Bompy is 1.8 now behind Bosch Evans, so Bosch Evans has some great pace on those hard compound tyres to keep that Williams at bay for the time being. He's actually dragging along with Smalley Boards and Resified too, so if Bosch Evans finds himself under a second in DRS, he might find himself 3 cars on the soft compound tyres coming after him in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. DRS enabled for the Williams man. When will he decide to overtake? Not in this lap. Could be a play of the last lap overtake. We'll see. As Gilbreen not able to overtake Steve on this for the time being, then as the P3 battle goes on between those two, now left alone to fight it out to decide who is on the top of the podium standings. Then, as the apologies about the block box on the left hand side of the screen, a random person has invited me to a party. I don't even know who that is. As we can see the top two, then the Williams versus the Red Bull, and the AlphaTauri versus the Ferrari. As you can see, there's Steve really struggling. He's hanging on to the podium. He really wants it after being from tier 3 up to tier 1. But how long can he defend against Gilbreen, who's been so close, but yet so far it seems into turn number 1? But could it be a last lap send from the AlphaTauri man from Germany? But let's see. Those soft compound tyres still looks like they've got some good juice left in them to have some great pace. Nathan and Sweet Crown have been consistent throughout the whole race, picking up no penalties. Both have an immense pace as well. Both splitting strategies as Sweet Crown went for the undercut, went on the hard compound tyres. Nathan staying out longer to go on the soft compound tyres, and they meet up once again. The battle for P1 goes, and it's going to be the penultimate lap of this race. What's going to be the last lap move or the penultimate lap? I think Nathan's too far back unless he uses the batteries to try to overtake Sweet Crown. But here we are, the most important stage of this race then, as we head down into turn 1. Nathan's too far back, so it might be a last lap lunge there from Nathan.
Unless he can get him into turn 2, he's not going to get good enough traction on this lap to do so. But it's Gilbreen through at turn 1 into P3, so Gilbreen taking the podium away from Seb. Seb fighting so hard for it, and Smalley Ball's also doing the same into turn 1 on Bompia, so Bompia falling down to P7. So while one Williams is on the verge of glory, the other falling down a position. I keep saying glory as though it's the championship. Of course, it's only the win at round 2, but it'll mean a lot in the championship standings at this stage. And Nathan only a couple tenths off the back of Sweet Crown. It's going to be through Sector 2. How well can he stick to the back of Sweet Crown?
No!
This is, ooh, big snap of oversteer for Nathan. He saves the car, but that is going to hurt his chances at the win quite a bit. Using a bit of overtake to try and keep on the back of Sweet Crown, but that may have cost him a potential race win here. Nathan is going to push so hard to keep on the back of Sweet Crown. Surely it'll be all of his ERS used up on the final lap. Down this pit straight, he's in the slipstream. He's going to have DRS, but is he going to be close enough? I don't think he will. Sweet Crown moving to the inside immediately to try and break the slipstream, trying to break the toe. But Nathan, he's not going to be close enough to go for a move into turn 1 on this occasion. His only option now will be if Sweet Crown makes a mistake. I think the softs might be just giving up a little bit too much on these last couple of laps, because Nathan has not had as significant of a pace advantage over Sweet Crown in these last couple laps. It looks like it's going to be P2 for Nathan, as AJ Wuhan getting overtaken by Kenny for P10. But Sweet Crown, he looks like he's going to be able to keep the win on this occasion. I think Nathan still has the better tires, but unless he can pull off something exceptional in these last few sectors, in these last couple sectors, it's not going to be the win for Nathan. It's going to have to be second. We'll see what the Williams driver can do, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull anything off.
No, I don't. Well, he has a pure grip in turn 11 to try and out. I don't think he will. I think Sweet Crown has this in the bag then. Sweet Crown holding up for P1 after Nathan hunts him down ever since he went on the soft compound tyres, but the juice ran out on those softs. If it was, or if there was one more lap to go, would Nathan been close enough? I don't think he is. You can see him make a mistake out of turn 12. Sweet Crown coming around the final corner as for the second time in a row he wins the Hungarian Grand Prix after surviving from Nathan hunts him down. It's a dismal race there, unfortunately. Well, it's dismal for Nathan, unfortunately, after trying to hunt him down, but those softs didn't make it. Dual beam in P3 ahead of Seaworld Gamer. Bosch Evans, what an incredible race. After starting P11 into P5, I thought to be hunted by those soft runners. Smalley balls in P6. Reservoir Bompia has run out of fuel. Interestingly, he finishes in P7 with rotation as they all, the timer sheets sort themselves out. Kenny in P8, Chaz at P9. Both McLarens P8 and P9 despite starting on the back of the field. Great result for them. Rotation P10, AJ outside the top 10, P's in P12, Reservoir 13, George Hargreaves 14th place, both advertised 15th and 16th, Eero Strange in P17 then. So that was an incredible race. I honestly thought Nathan would have had it in the bag, but unfortunately for him, Sweet Crown had the pace and held on.
Yeah, no, Sweet Crown just doing so well there, and Hargreaves retiring after the finish line somehow, so not, as Ferg slamming into the wall, but not sure what happened with Hargreaves just at the end there. He'd already crossed the finish line when he retired. But yeah, Sweet Crown wins the Hungarian Grand Prix, and really impressive drive from him, just defending from Nathan, who is charging so hard just at the end there. Nathan putting so much pressure on him.
Yeah, he did indeed. He gave it all, but it wasn't enough for Nathan JB. Probably left it a bit too late as well, and the soft compound tyres were deteriorated. But what a great defence from Sweet Crown there. Very experienced league racer indeed, and that's why he's at the top in P1 there. The Dutchman doing an outstanding job, and hopefully we're getting the party, because I can only do one interview tonight for the rest of the season. So whoever's the race winner has a lucky chance of talking to me, but hopefully he'll join this party. There it is then, there's the results. Sweet Crown wins ahead of Nathan. That's another podium for Nathan. Dual Beam, great drive as well in P3. Steve couldn't unfortunately hold on. Posh Evans finishing in P5 ahead of Smalley Balls, who 18th to 6th. What a great drive from him indeed as well. Bob Pierre out of fuel to finish in P7. Kenny in 8th ahead of Chazza. Both McLaren's doing a decent job, and rotation rounds off the top 10. AJ 11th ahead of Pease, Reservoir 13th, Toad 14th, Ferg, who set the fastest lap, in 15th, Strange in 16th, Hargreaves 17th, Frank in 18th, and Natamo in P19 with a DNF. The only DNF, I think, no, two of them, with Frank and Natamo going out of this race.
Yeah, just fantastic race there. Lovely to see such brilliant driving from all the drivers there, and yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully we do get an interview with Sweet Crown, but yeah, just fantastic driving, really. Always lovely to see that. I think very few things, maybe a couple things that people were unhappy with, but really not many, from my understanding. So good to see.
Great to see indeed, and we'll wait for Sweet Crown to join the podium interviews if he wants to, but if he doesn't, it'd be easy for me. I could just dip and we'll just wait a few seconds. But yeah, the Hungarian Grand Prix, great race. It was dry race throughout the whole of it, but in fact, Nathan will be joining the party instead then.
Well, it'd be good to interview him then.
Here he is, and we're going to interview him then. So Nathan JB. Win was coming your way, it looks like, but unfortunately, did those soft compound tyres just fade away for you as you were making mistakes in the middle sector?
That was that a question?
No, it was an answer. Yeah, it was a question. It was a question, mate.
Yeah, my tyres just made a mistake in sector 2 on the penultimate lap, and yeah, from then on I just had to burn everything to try and like get close, and it wasn't enough.
Oh, it was a shame there, but was the strategy always mediums to sauce? Were you ever going to respond to what Walter did if you didn't pit a few laps before?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of monitoring the entire race. Like, if Walter had pitted like lap 12, I probably would have boxed lap 13 or 14. But because he boxed lap 14, I thought any late it's kind of pointless just boxing for hards because you're already halfway over you're over halfway. So I just went, alright, I'm just gonna go softs and just go bold. So yeah, stuck with the strategy and almost paid off.
Yeah, almost did indeed, but you must be happy with the pace you've had so far. Saudi Arabia finished in P3 and now here, P2. So next race, P1, do you think?
I don't know, man. This Sweet Crown guy just doesn't make mistakes, which is really, really annoying. Because I feel like I made one mistake in that entire race, and that was on the penultimate lap, and that costed me, so...
Was it just pressure, or was it just the tyres going off in general?
I think it was both. Yeah, I think it was both. Mainly the tires were going off, and I just took the corner a little bit too hot, so I took too much exit curve, and that kind of unsettled the car. But yeah, I was just pushing like that while I was on the soft. I was just pushing every single lap, and I'm knackered, to be honest.
I'm not surprised, but are you? Does this increase your confidence now for the rest of the season, knowing you got some great pace and potentially fighting for the championship? I know it's early doors, but still, great pace early showing. Can you continue it for the next few races of the season?
We will see. I honestly didn't expect to be here for Hungary, so I don't know. I got pole. Yeah, we'll see.
Congratulations on P2, mate. You drove an outstanding race, switching the strategy around and go from mediums to softs, but the rest of it went from mediums to hards. And in the end, Walter came out after being hunted down by Nathan JB. But Bunich, you got any questions for Nathan?
Yeah, just when you pit onto the softs for that final stint, you've got was it 4 drivers you had to catch and pass, and what are you thinking when you have you see an entire 4 drivers that you have to get past? Does that sort of dishearten you at all, or do you just think, all right, get on with it? What do you think when you end up in a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, like at the beginning they were I think 8 seconds or something ahead, maybe 9. And I was kind of like, oh, is that even possible? And then I got stuck behind Josh for a lap, and then I thought, oh no, this isn't going to help at all. But then once I got into cleaner, I just looked at the delta on the top left, and it was gaining like seconds a lap. So then I knew I could catch Sieb, who was in P2. I didn't think I was going to catch Wouter until I saw like the laps. I was still getting faster and faster. So. Yeah, I mean, I was just taking it lap by lap, to be honest. I was just pushing every lap to see what could happen, because that was the best I could do, just to push every lap. So, yeah.
Fair enough. And I think that's all from me.
Yeah, so thank you, Nathan, for joining the podium interview. So we're writing off here then. Sweet Crown is here, but I can only do one driver. Sweet Crown, congratulations to the win, mate. What a outstanding defence, and you've been taking that pressure really well against Nathan.
Thanks.
You're welcome, mate, and we'll see you all next time at the French GP for Tier 3. And I feel so bad because Walter joined. No, Walter, I told you, Walter, only one driver. Are you gonna make me do it, Walter?
No, ask one question, man.
Are you happy you won? Are you happy you won the race?
Kinda. Because Nathan did look quick, and I didn't know what the strategy was at the start, but it worked out.
Did you? Here we go then. Did you ever think that Nathan would get you before the end of the race? Did you have that? Well, I can't even think now. Sorry about that, Walter. Messed up the question really badly.
When he caught out by about a second a lap every lap, or like more even. Yes, but then he got stuck in the dual rim and steep terrain for a little bit. I hoped it was a bit longer. If it was a bit longer, 2 laps or something, I wouldn't have anything to worry about. But then he got past very quick, and it just made no mistakes to the end. And then he made one at the end. And I don't know if I could have defended if he didn't, but it would have been a lot closer. I know that for sure.
At what point in the race as well did you realise that his soft compound tyres were dying?
Not really. I didn't really feel like the softs were dying that much. I feel like our tires got closer together, but I feel like he was quicker the whole last stint basically.
Thank you, mate. Thank you for joining the podium interviews, and you did a great job once again, Walter. Congrats, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. We'll see you all for Tier 3 and Tier 1 next week for the French GP.